Now you see this part, I harvested from here last time, but as you can see, there is still more pepper to be harvested. So you don't stop harvesting. Anytime you get an order, you can go ahead and harvest. Now you see here, we harvested here last Friday. Now today we are not harvesting here, we are harvesting the other side, because last Friday we harvested here 2 bags. So now we are harvesting. How do you know that this particular chili fruit is ready for harvest? Now you see all this is ready for harvest. We rarely harvest the purple chili. It is selected out as damaged. That discoloring is normally caused by the bee. It keeps spreading and moving and causing this. So we harvest only the green. So all this is ready for harvest, as you can see it. Now this one here is young, it's not yet ready for harvest. Now this one, you can almost harvest all the fruits on it because they are all ready for harvest. So what is the right way to harvest when you are harvesting your chili fruit? Now if you harvest it like this, it will be gone, it won't be exported. So you have to harvest it with the stalk. If you harvest the chili fruit without the stalk, then it will not be taken. It will be removed as reject. So you have to harvest it with its stalk. Now, you harvest them like this. You see this? That's how you harvest the chili. That is the right way to harvest your chili, which is exactly the same thing for hot pepper. That stalk is the one that preserves that fruit. When it comes to harvesting, which one is easier to harvest? Hot pepper is easier to harvest. Now you see all these employees who are right there helping me to harvest this chili. If this was a hot pepper garden, by this time they would be done already, but it won't be possible with chili. How big is this portion of land? Well, this is exactly about 2 acres. But he does not harvest the whole 2 acres all at once. Previously, I could harvest this whole garden all at once and finish it. Pepper had not yet overly produced, but now I can no longer do that because it's very fertile and it has produced a lot of branches and a lot of fruits. So I can no longer harvest the whole garden all at once in one day. So also this garden, I only spray the leaves. I use fertilizers only for the leaves. This can save a farmer so that you do not have to spend a lot of money to buy fertilizers for the fruits too. If you want to harvest for a long time, use the fertilizers for the leaves way more than you do. Fertilizers for the roots will cause the plant to overly produce all at once, and it will stop producing fruits for you very quickly. But when you use fertilizers for the leaves, you're able to have fruits produced from your plant for over a long period of time, which in the end will produce more fruits for you. Does that mean when a crop produces so many flowers just like this one, does that indicate that it's going to produce so many fruits? Yes. You see this chili, it will flower as it grows. But when you do not harvest the ready fruits from the plant, then it will stop flowering. The more you harvest the ready fruits, that is when you boost growth of the new flowers. Now when you do not harvest the heavy fruits, it will destroy your plant. The plant will eventually die off. That is also the same thing that happens to hot pepper. The more you harvest, the more your garden produces new fruit. So we asked him how many people does he need to help him if he wants to harvest this whole garden all at once. This garden, now right there, I'm having about 17 people who are doing the harvest right now. If you want to harvest this whole garden all at once, you will need to have about 30 farmers, 30 workers helping you to do the harvest. So we asked about how they get paid. Do they get paid monthly or on a daily? Isn't it too expensive to hire help? Now those ones, they harvest a basin. So we calculate per basin. That is the only way you can manage them. You don't pay all of them at the same rate or at once, because some of them are hard workers, yet some of them really are slow workers. For each basin harvested, we pay the person 2,500. But the basin can produce about 5 kilograms, and each kilogram is about 2,000. You give the farmer 1 kilo per basin plus an extra 500. So if a basin is about 5 kilograms, In your calculations, you know that me as the owner, I'm going to be able to get about 3.5 kilograms. So we asked if there is someone who keeps monitoring. What if someone says, I've harvested 5 basins and they haven't? No, there is someone in there who is managing them. So every time you harvest your basin, you have to first go show it to her, and then she'll be able to note that basin down. But also from the experience I have, I know them, and I know who is able to harvest 5 basins in a day. Harvesting chili, I know that this one can only harvest about 3 basins. So there is no way that person can lie to me that he harvested 5, because no, they cannot harvest 5. So there is no way you can deceive me. Now these are the traps that I mentioned before. I put in these traps and they help trap all the flying insects in the garden. Now in the trap they place a bait inside that can, as you can see it. Now this bait attracts all the insects in the garden, the flying insects, and they will come into that bottle where they will enter. Now this tin is empty because this garden does not have so many flying insects. The medicine is placed in that sponge which attracts the flies to come, and they get killed in there. Now I've heard about birds. Some farmers have a challenge with birds. Birds affect hot pepper more than chili. There is also one of my farmers who just gave me a call the other day and told me birds are destroying his hot pepper plantation. Now you see this pepper, it also died off. So I removed it and I decided to plant here beans. The plantation was really big. It was going up to that side. But now hot pepper refused to grow here. I'll never grow hot pepper on this land again. So that pepper that you saw at the start, it's the same here. When it starts to bring these kind of leaves, you will just know that hot pepper has refused to grow on that land. You see the shoots are no longer growing. The shoots are not looking healthy. The leaves have grown tiny and the fruit is going tiny too. There you will just know that the land has refused hot pepper. We asked if the fruit that's there is okay. The fruits, now you see, this is all diseased. This is disease. The medicine that you can use on such a disease is Ciovet. We call it Ciovet. Now this bacteria is for the outer shell, because we were asking whether if you break it there is no moss inside. But he said that disease, that bacteria attacks the outer shell. And he broke it, and indeed there was no moth inside. It was just the shell that was diseased. As you can see, there is no moth. And this also comes when you do not spray. Now for us, we abandoned hot pepper in this garden, so we no longer spray it. That's why you see all this. Now I'm going to take you that side so that you can have a look at the bed, the nursery bed that I'm planting. So when we reach that side, that's when we're going to learn more about making the bed properly. Chili in this garden looks really good. It's well taken care of. As you can see, Mr. Del Gracious' land, chili garden is clean. You do not see any weeds. The fact that his chili is really healthy and fat, is it because the soil is very fertile? Now this chili, we were supposed to harvest it last Friday, the whole plantation, but we were not able to do so, so we never harvested this part. Now it has overgrown for another week. That's why you see the chili became more big, because it continued to grow for another more week after it was ready to harvest. We have to make sure we completely harvest all of them today. Now you see the other gentleman, he's also a farmer for hot pepper. We actually visited that farmer he was showing us in this garden later on. He's called Salongo. If you didn't watch, it must be probably part 13 of pepper growing in Uganda. He's one of my farmers, the farmers that we work with. Now you saw the other hot pepper plantation that died off on this land, it was his. And then mine was the one that we've just seen, also that died off for hot pepper on this particular land. Now for me here, I planted as seeds from the circuit and they died off. That is for hot pepper. Now the first garden you saw, the seeds we planted there, we had extracted them from our pepper fruits and they too died off. So we didn't use the same seeds. Here we used the circuit and that side we used seeds extracted from fruits. Now since they both died off, we discovered the problem is not what the type of seeds we used, but the problem is the soil. This particular soil refused to allow hot pepper growth. So hot pepper cannot grow successfully on this particular piece of land. So we had to get another piece of land where we grew pepper. We discovered this land cannot accommodate hot pepper. So Mr. Mobi planted here a small portion of hot pepper on this same piece of land just for his experiment purposes. He wants to try all the things. So he's testing different chemicals and different medications to see if they can work on this pepper here. Maybe the next time you come back here, you will ask me, you will find out the results of my experiment. So I planted this small portion. There is some medications I want to try and see. When it comes to pepper, they do not allow us to use powdered medicines, which is a lot. Now I'm going to use a lot of powdered medicines on this one, and just so I can test and see whether the diseases that affected the other pepper, it can be eradicated. Mind you, the sample garden he planted to do the tests, all the fruits from this garden are not going to be sold. It's a plantation he planted specifically for his experiments. So don't try this on a plantation you're planning to sell off. Don't use it for experiments if you are planting for export. Now you see at the beginning it really looks good and healthy. That is how the previous garden also was. But then later on in its growth, it brings tiny leaves. So I'm going to try using those chemicals we don't normally use in the gardens, and I see. So I'm going to be trying chemicals like Indophil, and I see. So I'm going to spray heavy concentrations of chemicals and medicines, and I see if that will prevent the other disease from coming.